Welcome to The Art of Living. Today I'm with Sarah Breyfogle, and Sarah is Hospice Savannah's board-certified music therapist. Hi Sarah, thank you for doing this. So tell people what a board-certified music therapist is. People think you just go and sing with patients, but there's a lot more to it than that.
There is a lot more to it. The board certification is actually an exam that you have to pass. Before you take the exam, you have to have at least an undergraduate degree in music therapy.
And you have a master's degree in music therapy.
I do have a master's degree, so that's above and beyond the requirements. You also, within that certification, you have to have 1,200 hours of clinical experience with patients before you're able to actually practice as a music therapist. And in addition to that, Georgia licenses music therapists, so I'm licensed in the state of Georgia.
Is it clinically proven that music therapy makes a difference?
It's a research-based profession, so there's always new research coming out through clinical trials, both quantitative and qualitative research. So I'm actually receiving some of those publications. I'm paying attention to what's cutting edge in my field as far as how music affects the brain, how music affects behavior, and so how music affects emotions and psychology. So I'm looking for those responses. I'm not simply just playing music and ignoring responses that are given to me by the patient, and I know how to change the music in the moment to meet those responses. So if someone begins to cry, I will talk to the patient while I'm still playing the music and just make sure, check in with them, see if they're in a good place, if they would like for me to continue or not, or how the music should go from there.
I'm sure it elicits strong emotion both from the patient and from the family. There's a lot of memory attached to music, and I'm sure in situations, I can imagine with spouses that it would probably make the caregiver sad sometimes.
There are a lot of dynamics, and I would categorize it more as a meaningful experience rather than a sad experience. When I see tears, a lot of times it means that something big is happening there, that they're having a moment.
Yes.
And I will often see the family member, the spouse, move to the bedside and reach out for the hand. And that to me is a good sign. I keep the music going because it holds a space for meaningful moments like that to happen.
And why did you choose the field of hospice care and Hospice Savannah in particular?
Well, hospice care, because I've always been interested in the spiritual side of things, and that's not something you get in just any population of people. And I've also had several personal experiences with loved ones getting really good hospice care, and so I just put two and two together, and I thought, that's really what I want to do. So Hospice Savannah is such a great organization. When I was looking for jobs, it stuck out to me, and I actually moved here for the position.
And we're very grateful to our community for funding this position. This position is funded through donations. And I know that you work 30 hours a week. You wish you could see our patients a little bit more. What sort of caseload do you have?
I have 30 to 40 patients on any given week. That's always fluctuating. I really don't like to say no to a family. So what I do is I'll usually go out and do an assessment, and they're usually very appropriate for music therapy. So then I determine what frequency I would see them and what kind of activities and interventions we would do.
Well, give us some examples of how you work your magic. What do you do? Like, say, with an elderly person, and then maybe we can talk about a younger person.
Right.
Give us some examples.
Right, so what a lot of people don't know is that I use live music. So I'm actually engaging in singing with the patient and playing instruments. It could be guitar, it could be piano, it could be percussion. And I actually like to involve the family and the patients in the music as well. So whether that's active music making, getting them involved in playing instruments. Some of my patients are musicians, so I like to honor that. And just really working on improving quality of life. Unfortunately, some of our patients are on their last days, as we know, and so they're not able to have energy to do much more than listen, but it can be really meaningful to just be able to hear a song or a comforting melody that is either improvised or just a pre-composed song at the end of life.
We've all heard so many stories of how music can touch people when their other senses are are almost gone. So have you got any examples of how you have really impacted someone at the end of life?
Yeah, I'm thinking of a guy that I just saw yesterday actually
Good.
at one of our nursing home facilities. He's actually in an Alzheimer's unit because he has end-stage Alzheimer's. And so what I do with him is, instead of pulling him from his environment, from his group, he is already out in the common area with all of the other residents around. I just simply do a group music therapy session, and I really try to focus in on him because he was a piano player.
Oh.
Now, he doesn't remember he was a piano player, but he has really good rhythm. So I try to highlight that by making sure he gets a tambourine, making sure I walk around and use a little proximity to go closer to encourage him and the other residents as well to be involved in the music through singing, through playing instruments, and through just having a social experience.
And you can see that engagement even though he has end-stage Alzheimer's?
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to explain to the doctors and nurses because the patient is not able to carry on a conversation.
Sure.
I mean, he can rarely even answer even a yes or no anymore. But to see him light up, you see his eyes light up, and you see him actually singing some of the lyrics that he knows from a long, long time ago.
That's wonderful. Well, I know that we also at Hospice Savannah care for pediatric patients, and you are currently working with a young boy who just turned 4. His name is King. Would you like to talk about that story?
Yeah, King actually just turned 3.
Oh, 3.
But he looks more like a 2-year-old, I would say. He has some developmental delay. And so my work with that family is first and foremost to provide music stimulation for him, to encourage him to meet developmental goals, which is actually a little bit counterintuitive because he is considered to have a terminal diagnosis. But his family's goal is to have him thrive as much as he can within his limitations. So that's what I'm working on with him, as well as just providing an open communication between the family, myself, and the other team members, because I actually see the patient more often than the social worker.
Yes.
Because I do have a more flexible schedule.
So you're in there and you're able to assess the situation. And how does he react to music?
Well, my first meeting with him was at his mom's birthday party. I just tagged along to play music, and I just immediately saw his eyes light up as well, just like with the older gentleman. And he actually started dancing.
Oh.
Nobody told him to dance. He's just started dancing, and his mom got into it and encouraged him, and I just saw this wonderful interaction happening in that room. And I just told the mom about music therapy, and she thought it was great. So I've been seeing him ever since.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all the work that you do with our patients. I know that you would love to do more. You see them twice a month, you told me, but you would prefer to see them once a week if you could, but you're so busy.
That's right. I don't like to say no to patients that clearly need a little extra support, a little extra music stimulation in their life. And so, though I wish I could see them once a week, I usually have to say once a month or twice a month so that I can see more patients.
Well, thank you. You're adding an extra level of care and an extra program that other hospices can't provide. So we thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks, Beth.